of Atlanta officials right now. Here we are, just the fourth day of 2024, and Atlanta has already seen several cases of gun violence in the first few days of the new year. So city leaders are planning to gather, or they are working on gathering right now to address this issue. The mayor and the police chief will talk about their crime reduction efforts over the last year and give us a look ahead to what's to come in the year of 2024. City leaders are very concerned. This news conference comes on the heels of a very violent week where several shootings have happened throughout the city, including a deadly drive-by triple shooting on Ralph David Abernathy Boulevard, which claimed the life of an 18-year-old, Montravius Pitts. Police say that somebody targeted a group of young men, which included Pitts. 2 other victims are expected to survive their gunshot wounds. Now, Atlanta News first spoke with Pitt's grandmother, who said the violence among young people has to stop and that families really need to start having some hard conversations about all of this. Again, this news conference expected to begin here at Salem Bible Church at any moment now. Atlanta News First is going to be following this and bring you the latest. Again, expecting to hear from Mayor Andre Dickens, among others, on their efforts to combat gun violence in the city. Listen, while we are waiting for this to begin, let me just bring you some other top stories that we are following as well. There's a search going on right now for the suspect in a deadly hit and run. So this is the suspect that officials are looking for right now. Police really need your help. Okay, police really need your help finding a woman they say ran over and killed a 9-year-old boy and then drove off. It happened a year ago this week, but police are now just releasing the identity of the woman they think is responsible. My colleague Madeline Montgomery has more.
Police believe it was Tomasa Mendoza who hit and killed a 9-year-old boy right here off Cleveland Avenue. You can see there's a memorial still set up for him here. Now, we have a photo of Mendoza. Police say she's 58 years old. She's 5'2". She has brown hair, brown eyes. They say she was driving a red Toyota pickup truck when she hit and killed Jamal Dean. And we have a photo of him just 9 years old when he was killed. He was a student at Hawthorne Elementary School. He played basketball. He's described as a bright-eyed, energetic athlete with his own swag. Police say that if you have any information about where Mendoza could be, you're asked to call them, or you can even leave an anonymous tip through Crime Stoppers, and there is a $10,000 reward for information that leads to Mendoza's arrest. Reporting off Cleveland Avenue, I'm Madeline Montgomery, Atlanta News First.
And again,
police believe it was Tomasa Mendoza who hit and killed a 9-year-old boy.
And again, you are encouraged to reach out to Atlanta Police if you have any information about that. Also want to let you know about some information just into our newsroom just moments ago, that there is a high school shooting being reported in Perry, Iowa at the moment. The extent of the injury is not clear, but apparently this is happening at the city's high school, or happened at the city's high school. An investigation underway right now. The high school is part of the Perry Community School District, which has over 1,700 students. And, you know, today's the first day back at school for these students following the holiday break. So the timing, you know, certainly tenuous there. But, you know, our partners in that region have been reaching out to officials there, trying to get some more information. But again, there's a high school shooting that's been reported in Perry, Iowa. Extent of injuries unclear right now, but we're going to keep following all the breaking developments. Also encourage you to go to atlantanewsfirst.com and download our free app to get the latest there. In the meantime, I want to get you to some other local news that we're following as well. And I want to show you this image of a missing man that officials are really hoping you can help find. So this is 46-year-old Adrian Epps, And there's a desperate search for him going on right now. He has gone missing in Fulton County. Sandy Springs police say he was last seen a little after 7 o'clock yesterday morning walking along a Meridian Mark Road. We are told that he suffers from various mental health disorders that includes an unspecified mental disorder. It also includes autism and a psychotic disorder with hallucinations as well. Police say that Mr. Epps was wearing a white shirt, black jacket, and red checkered pajama pants. Anyone with information concerning his whereabouts is asked to please call Sandy Springs Police. Also letting you know that we continue to keep our eyes inside of a Fulton County courtroom for the latest in the YSL racketeering trial, RICO trial. Yesterday we heard from Trontavious Stevens, and we're expecting to hear more from him today. In fact, he is on the stand right now. So I want to let you know you can watch on our special event stream if you want to watch our gavel to gavel coverage there. Trontavious Stevens was a defendant in this case who turned state witness after he pleaded guilty and took a plea deal in December of 2022. Excuse me. Prosecutors have been arguing that the alleged YSL street gang began as Rock Crew, which stands for Raised on Cleveland. Of course, defense attorneys maintain it's not a gang, it's a record label, Young Stoner Life. Prosecutors questioned yesterday Trontavious Stevens for hours, trying to build a case that these alleged violent acts are all in furtherance of a criminal street gang. Let's listen.
Did you and other members of Rock Crew ever commit any crimes together?
No.
Never?
No.
All right, so you hear there Trontavious Stevens denying that he committed crimes with the Rock Crew, which prosecutors allege stands for Raised on Cleveland. But testimony is underway, and Trontavious Stevens is on the stand once again. You can watch that on our special event stream, our secondary stream here on Atlanta News First Plus, if you want to see the latest there. In the meantime, let me bring you back into this church, where Salem Bible Church, where we expect Atlanta city leaders to begin a press conference at any moment now addressing street violence and specifically gun violence in the city. Mayor Andre Dickens and others pledging to combat violence after really a tragic week. So we're just waiting for that to begin as well. Okay, and so we're just keeping our eyes on that as well. Also want to point you to another one of our top stories that we are following. And here's what it is. A deputy from Coweta County who was killed in a high-speed chase early this morning. And you can see this is one of our top stories here on AtlantaNewsFirst.com. And this gentleman has now been identified as Deputy Sheriff Eric Minix. So the chase started around 2 a.m., traveled along I-85 into Chambers County, Alabama, where a Lynette police officer struck and killed the deputy, according to officials there. Again, this deputy killed by an Alabama police officer during a high-speed chase has now been identified as Deputy Sheriff Eric Minix. The suspect in the stolen vehicle is now in custody, according to police. The Lynette police officer has been put on administrative leave while the situation is being investigated. But again, the victim here has been identified as Deputy Sheriff Eric Minix, a deputy from Coweta County, who was killed in a high-speed chase early this morning where a Lynette police officer apparently struck and killed this deputy. This chase, again, started around 2 a.m. in Georgia, traveled along I-85 into Chambers County, Alabama, where this happened. And we understand that this deputy, leaving behind a wife and 3 daughters. Very tragic story. Okay, let's go back out now to Salem Bible Church. We see Atlanta Mayor Andre Dickens and several others here. They are gathered to discuss gun violence. Let's listen.
Of government approach that includes addressing crime at its root causes. There are so many people here who have had a hand in this effort, some of whom you will hear from shortly, and they are all on the stage. But there are so many people that go into this that we can't have everyone speak, because this is a group project that really takes everyone. In addition to my partners on the Atlanta City Council, my cabinet members that you see here, a number of community members and community organizations and nonprofits that serve the youth and the communities, of course, to all the representatives of our Atlanta Police Department, our Atlanta Fire Rescue Department, Corrections, E911, et cetera. To you, Chief Shearbaum and Chief Smith and the whole leadership team at AFRD and APD, we thank you. We also, again, as I mentioned, we have representatives from our Year of the Youth partners with us today. Up here, you'll hear later from Gary Davis. He is here representing Next Level Boys Academy, a group targeting at-risk youth, and we'll again hear from him shortly. Faith Porter is here representing Raising Expectations, a youth engagement and empowerment group and a youth development grant recipient from this year. Kid Kong is in the audience, and he is here representing Kid Kong Association, a group that targets youth from ages 5 to 17 years old, and they are also another youth development grant recipient. Sanjay Patel is here with some of his team members representing one of the coolest programs targeting young people with their Soccer in the Streets, which is also another grant recipient. And Rebecca Stanley and her team are here representing grant recipient Blueprint 58, a group working in the Pittsburgh community. Additionally, Marcus Walker, our director of the Mayor's Office of Violence Reduction, is here, along with representatives from OAA, which is Offender Alumni Association, and Chris 180. These are organizations that are changing lives by changing directions. They're some of our violence interruption partners, which is very critical in the violence reduction efforts that we've seen. And so, and I might have missed some that I haven't mentioned, but thank you all for your work in the community, each and every last one of you. And this is why I call Atlanta a group project. I don't put an S on my chest as the mayor and say, I'm going to solve all this by myself. It takes the faith community, the business community, the nonprofits, the business community, individuals, parents, et cetera, to pull this off. Strong partnerships. And today, we mark the fruit of some of that labor. We ended 2023 with some numbers that prove we are really moving in the right direction. You will get specifics about this from Chief Shearbaum shortly, but the top line is we ended this year We ended this year with citywide major crimes against people down more than 15%, and that includes homicides being down more than 20% since this time last year. That is quite a significant change of events to be able to reduce crime that much. Rapes are down around 50%. Again, I don't want to steal any of Chief's thunder as he's going to bring those statistics, but I'd like to just say that we are here to acknowledge the good, the great work that so many people, including our public safety professionals, have put into this year. Now I'll talk a little bit about the Year of the Youth. Public safety looms large in one of the most important initiatives that we have undertaken, and that was, again, the Year of the Youth initiative. It is my goal to make Atlanta the best place in the country to raise a child, and we started it with the Year of the Youth. This initiative embodies my belief that Atlanta, as a group project, there are very few areas of government that haven't had some interaction with this group, including Atlanta Police Department. Chief Schierbaum and APD signed on as early supporters of the Year of the Youth by expanding their police athletic league. That's programming during the K through 12 space and the school breaks time. This helped ensure that we had something tangible to offer students and their families when classes were not in session. Atlanta Fire Rescue joined our Year of the Youth by having part of our summer youth employment program by training cadets who have indicated an interest in public safety careers after graduation. So high schoolers are already starting on their way to become Atlanta Fire Rescue Department members. Speaking of summer youth employment, we put more than 5,000 young people to work last summer in paying positions at paid about $17 an hour on average. And we have partnered with more than 100 community organizations to promote programs such as our Safe Spaces partnerships that also serve to keep our young people safe and busy during school breaks. We believe that delivering entertaining and worthy programming to young Atlantans can help provide outlets that nurture and support them and keep them out of harm's way, whether they're participating in our programs or they are adjacent to someone who is participating. And so there are a number of people here today, again, that we can thank for helping us reduce crime citywide, and we are standing in Zone 1, so we thank the leadership and the whole team, all of the members of Zone 1. I live in Zone 1, so I thank you for my family, and I also thank you for all the residents that are here. An important player in all of this, again, is our Chief Schierbaum, who we'll hear from now. Chief, come and talk about our crime in Atlanta.
Thank you, Mayor. Good morning, everyone. I want to again welcome you all here today, members of the press, the community, and our partners that also share in this success that we're honoring today. And Pastor, we appreciate you opening the doors for us. And we're not here just because the rent's cheap. We're here because the community has an important role anytime we succeed in safety in our city. And so it's good to be here with our faith partners. The mayor mentioned numbers, and why we're here to talk about percent signs and a number being lower than it was last year. We're very mindful that anytime someone is a victim of a crime, a family is impacted. Individuals, citizens of our city, visitors of our city are impacted. So we're blessed to see the reductions that we have seen over the last year. Homicides, which are down 21% in our city. Shooting incidents are down 18%, and the number of people that were shot down 23%. By making sure that we're removing guns from our streets, going after the gangs members and the drug dealers that are pulling the triggers on those guns. Those reductions were seen in the area of robbery, in burglary, and in car break-ins. Car break-ins has historically led this city as the crime category that most citizens will know crime. And that was reduced this year, Mayor, because of the great work of the men and women to our left that is wearing the uniform of the Atlanta Police Department, our civilian partners and our partners in that area. You know, this isn't an end, this is a beginning. We're going to continue to fight crime. And I'm very fortunate that every day that we fight crime, we're doing it in partnership with our mayor. Because this is a mayor who has made public safety a cornerstone of his administration, and it's just not a talking point. We meet with our mayor at least 5 times a week to see what does the city's safety look like, what strategies are underway, and then what do we need to be effective as a police department. So, Mayor, I thank you for that. I thank you for activating all of your city government. Thank you for bringing on strong partners to allow us to be not in this fight alone for our city. The men and women of the police department, I just want to tell you how proud I am of you, because we have asked a lot of you this year. We have called you to go to 12-hour shifts time and time again to protect the First Amendment on Peachtree Street, every street of this city. We've called upon you to keep the Public Safety Training Center going. We've called upon you to protect the Peachtree Road Race, the Pride Parade, the Dragon Con Parade. If you're going to come and celebrate in Atlanta, they're going to do it right here, Mayor. And you all have protected that time and time again, and you've reduced crime. This past year, ladies and gentlemen of the police department, you've taken 3,197 guns off the street, out of the hands of people that should not have them. This past year, thank you. This past year, you have charged 140 documented gang members with the gang charge over 560 times, taking those individuals off our streets and out of our parks that are causing risk to this city. Every fifth day of this year, you shut down a drug dealing operation in this city, meaning every fifth day this department was going through a door that on the other side of that door was an armed drug dealer that was poisoning a neighborhood and eroding the safety of that community, and I'm proud of you for that. Over 700,000 times you brought compassion and courage and commitment to a citizen or visitor of this city, and I'm proud of you for that. And we would not be standing here today, Mayor, on this podium if it were not for the men and women of the Atlanta Police Department fighting hard for this city. And thank you for the raises. And thank you for the raises and the tools. We like those nice new shiny police cars outside, Mayor. Thank you for that. We got to get there to get the bad guy, Mayor, and the bad gal. So thank you for that. But I want the citizens to know we're going to stay in the fight, and we didn't do it alone. We have phenomenal civilians that are at work today. You don't see them here today because they're not wearing the uniform. But in our 911 center, 1.3 million times this year, the call was answered by our civilian 911 call takers. Our crime scene techs, our code enforcement officers, our GCI technicians, and our civilian analysts were hard at work, making sure that these officers could go out and do the job they needed to do. And then because of the mayor building bridges with our federal and state and regional partners, we were joined by the FBI, the ATF, the GBI, the Georgia State Patrol, the Attorney General's office, the DA's office, the Sheriff of Fulton County. Many other agencies have been right here along with us as we've gone after the gangs, guns, and drugs right here that are present in Fulton County and in the city. But our citizens have been there. Multiple times this year, our crime prevention inspectors came together to train citizens how to form a neighborhood watch. And Mayor, multiple times this year, citizens came to that room and said, I want to do my part. We currently now have over 37,000 cameras that are integrated or registered in Connect Atlanta, where citizens are doing their part to make this city safe, and we couldn't do it without them. And also the 3 Citizens Police Academies that occurred this year, and the 1 Teen Citizens Police Academy where citizens said, we want to do our part and be a partner right here in Atlanta, Georgia. And we couldn't have done it without them as well. But never forget, the 3 best crime fighters always will be and always has been economic opportunity, education, and a stable home life. And for us to be where the mayor wants us to be and go, we have to be in those spaces so your police department can go help the fire department put out fires, and we don't need us going to all the calls all the time. And Chief Smith, I appreciate you always being there with us. And so, Pastor, we appreciate what you've done, visiting our precincts, allowing us to demonstrate our partnership by holding roll calls right here at this very facility, but for the 3 things that you do to fight crime right here in Atlanta. And it is my privilege to turn the podium over to you this morning to speak to the group today, sir.
Chief, thank you. Thank you to our mayor and to our chief. When we were asked about hosting this particular press conference here and what it was about, the answer was yes before Ms. Shata Spikes even finished. So we're very blessed to have this on today and to celebrate with you as a partner in this community. This particular edifice that you all are here or that you're sitting within was constructed in 1970. I've been in ministry for 25 years, and in the tenure of my ministry of being here at Salem Bible Church, we've never seen the strategic partnership and strategy with intention of reducing crime like I've seen it. So this is coming from me. I've never witnessed anything like this. I've never seen a mayor and a chief and an administration work against crime in such a crime-infested place and zone as we've experienced here at Salem Bible Church. And what that shows is efficacy and leadership. I remember before our mayor was running for office, one of the biggest concerns of Atlantans was crime. So to see the awards of an overall reduction in crime all over Atlanta, but also the largest reduction, if I'm not mistaken, in Zone 1, shows that your leadership in this city is working. I'm blessed, and we are blessed at Salem Bible Church to be here. We want to give another salute to the brave men and women who are defending us, who are protecting us. There have been many, many times when we've had issues here at this church, and our police officers have worked with us with being professional, very quickly, helping us to resolve it. I've never felt like an adequate partner as we feel right now, and I just want to rejoice in my beloved city of Atlanta and thank our mayor and our chief and our amazing officers for the wonderful things that you've done. We should be celebrating on today. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Faith Porter, and I serve as the Director of Programs at Raising Expectations. We are a STEAM-focused youth mentorship and advocacy organization that serves students in the after-school time, families on West and Southwest Atlanta for the past 28 years. On behalf of our whole team, I want to thank Mayor Dickens and his entire office for the opportunity to be present today. And I'd also like to extend our thanks to our community partners, fellow organizations that are invested in this work of youth development. Raising Expectations was founded in 1995 by 2 college students who were determined to give back to the communities in which they attended school. This is a fact that highlights the importance of civic engagement here in Atlanta. Over the past 28 years, Raising Expectations has focused on improving life's possibilities for youth who are most at risk. And we're so grateful to have played a role in changing lives and outcomes in the development of this city. We look forward to a legacy of deepened service in partnership with the mayor's office and through the many opportunities that our partnership has provided. Over the past 2 years, we've had a chance to serve as a City of Atlanta Youth Development Grant recipient, as well as receive funding for Youth Work, which is our summer program for high school students, a paid opportunity to focus their time on professional skills during the summer. We're so thankful for the city's commitment to partnership with organizations such as RE, which illustrates a mutual commitment to equity and to supporting the legacy of historic residents of the city of Atlanta, even as our city continues to grow and develop. We know that in keeping with the growing needs of our city, that opportunities for increased youth development opportunities are on the horizon for Raising Expectations. We urge you to keep tuned in with us and to join us in the work of dealing in possibilities. At this point, I'll turn it over to Gary Davis of Next Level Boys Academy. Thank you.
Good morning. There's an African proverb that reads, "A child who is not embraced by the village will burn it down to feel its warmth." And we all know that Atlanta was one of those cities that has a number of displaced, devalued, desperate young men who was willing to do anything to feel empowered, risk it all just to get that form of control. Where Next Level Boys Academy, we were able to identify that and saw that need is why we put in place, a safe space for a young man to get life skills, social skills, conflict resolution, anger management, job readiness, create opportunities, create value for them in their lives. We're thankful for Mayor Dickens and his team for creating a space for us here in Atlanta. We were able to impact more than 100 young men and their families in the time that we've been here. And because of that, we've actually changed the name from Next Level Boys Academy to Next Level Empowerment Center, because what we've learned in that short period of time that not only these young men need support, but the entire family do. So we're providing services to the entire family and here at Next Level Empowerment Center now. And we're thankful for the great work that my team is doing. We're thankful for the mayor and his staff for giving us this opportunity. And as he always says, it's a group project. And many of us would say, well, we need to do more. We still have this. We could fix this problem if you was to get involved, or if the media could get it to the people out there. Because one thing I do know about a black and brown young man, if he knows better, he'll do better. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Lorenzo Lewis. I'm the program manager of Cure Violence for Zone 4 with Chris 180. And in partnership with the City of Atlanta Mayor's Office, Office of Violence Reduction, Cure Violence of both the Offender Alumni Association in Zone 1 and Chris 180 in Zones 3 and 4 are continually mediating and interrupting instances of violence. Using the Cure Violence model, we're actively reducing shootings and interpersonal conflicts through our violence interrupters, while addressing disparities through our outreach workers that often leaves folks vulnerable to being a victim of violence, a driver of violence, or both. So far, OAA has conducted over 20 interruptions that were resolved and resulted in no retaliations or deaths. Simultaneously, Chris 180 has conducted over 50 interruptions that are mostly resolved, with some requiring frequent follow-ups to ensure an instance of violence doesn't take place. Interruptions are an integral part of our program, and it centers sustained peace. Our non-policing, non-punitive, forest-biased, community-driven approach has so far resulted in over 1,700 people being served through OAA and Chris 180 combined. Now, from providing hygiene kits to sponsoring sporting events, providing meals, conducting groups, mentorship, linking families and individuals to legal, housing, and mental health resources, we address the sources of violence by meeting the needs of the people as best we can, and by teaching our youth how to de-escalate volatile situations. The needs of the communities we serve are pervasive in our lives, and as we lower the risk of violence and facilitate community healing, we acknowledge that amazing work is being done and that we have a long, long way to go. We must listen to those impacted the most by violence and meet the needs of the people, because for many, violence is directly tied to economic plight. OAA and Chris 180 is dedicated to actualizing a safer, more prosperous Atlanta for our youth and families, and we're grateful to our various community partners who lend resources and their time to our goal of keeping more of our youth alive. We're grateful to our partners as well, whether hospital-based or church-based, who lend efforts, and together we will do this in solidarity and in service. Thank you. I'll turn it back over to Chief.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. So your police department protects you in a number of ways, but our largest division is our Field Operations Division that divides the city up in 6 geographic areas, Zone 1 through 6. It's good to see some of the neighbors and residents of Zone 1 that are here today. And so each year we recognize the men and women of one of those zones that reduced crime the most over the previous year. And we are here at Salem Baptist because they are the one that helped Bible to help us here to show the partnership. But we're in Zone 1 because this year it is my distinct honor to announce that Zone 1, the officers and the leadership of this great zone, have reduced crime by 9% over this time last year, and they will receive the 2023 Crime Reduction Award, Mayor, for the City of Atlanta.
Come on up, Major Mormon.
All the officers from the zone come up.
Yeah, okay, Major Mormon and all the officers from Zone 1, come on up.
If you're a Zone 1 officer,
Come on up, Zone 1.
Congratulations. Carla, congratulations.
What I got? Yes, sir. Now, I went to Mays, and Mormon went to Doug High, but today he's a winner. Thank you all for your leadership, Chief.
Right here behind you.
Right
That's right.
Okay.
Sneak it around, sir.
Here, why don't we do it this way?
There we go.
Okay, okay.
Major, congratulations, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for the support.
Chief. Pastor, you want to make sure you're in the photo? Come up too. Come on up and around. I know, they're too tall. I'm sorry. What's Censor's tall? Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, baby. Thank you all again, Zone 1, for your commitment and all the work that you've done. And thank you to all of our zones and to all of our brave men and women of the Atlanta Police Department, E911, as well as our Fire Rescue Department, Chief Smith, and to our corrections and everybody that has served to make sure that we have made Atlanta one safe city. Be remiss, we mentioned a lot of organizations, also the Atlanta Police Foundation and the At Promise Centers played a huge role in making sure that we reduced youth-related crime, and some of these organizations work out of the At Promise Center, including Chris 180 and Raising Expectations has an office there as well. So now I'll take questions from the media or anyone regarding our public safety. All right. Chidi?
Some housekeeping questions, statistical stuff. First, do you have any reason to believe that, homicide numbers are what they are, but depending on how you categorize an aggravated assault, that number can change depending on policing. Do you have any reason to believe that there's been a change in policy practice that would have affected the year-to-year comparison of the numbers that we're looking at?
Chief, why don't you speak specifically? I'll speak anecdotally.
Certainly. Clearly, George, we follow the FBI guideline. What qualifies to be an aggravated assault, a burglary break-in isn't set by the Atlanta Police Department or the GBI, it's set by the FBI, and those are the guidelines we follow. We have a unit that does that. Why do we have a reduction? We can point to a lot of things. It's clearly the partnership we have with our community. It's clearly using non-traditional resources from a police standpoint, because we can only affect certain things. If you're a gang member in this city, if you're running a drug dealing operation, you're moving guns, you're robbing people, you should expect to meet your police department. And so this last year, we refocused on bringing more analysts on. We refocused how the department was structured to be able to deploy resources more quickly. And we went to the places and after the people that we know pose the greatest risk to the safety of a community. And that is why the area that we are responsible for, I believe that made the difference, and it's the courage of everyone that reports to work every day of the police department. No, it's 140 gang members and then hundreds of charges against them. And I can give you that statistic again real quick. Did you want to speak to that?
Well, I did want to speak to that first point, though. So the idea behind the group project is real. And so when you, as Chief mentioned, year over year, you think about there were some individuals that had aggravated assaults that ended up not into a homicide, meaning they might have been shot and they just didn't die. The group project includes Grady. It includes 911 operators that answer the phone quickly, dispatch help. The AFRD may be the first responder on the scene. So that whole, there were incidents that were violence that did not lead to death. So the homicide numbers also include the fact that fewer people were shot this year than last year. So 2023 numbers of shootings were down, but also those did not result in death because of faster response time with 911, better ability to get people to the care that they needed. That's on the medical side and on the response side. The other thing about the group project is, as you've heard, violence interrupters were out on the scenes helping to break up certain things, and retaliations were down. Then all these youth activities, people were busy. These folks were busy helping young folks stay busy, so fewer and fewer conflicts and issues arose, and on and on and on. So I think that while we are seeing a reduction in crime, we also have to look at the root causes are now in the ethos that we're going to resolve these conflicts. We're going to be able to use conflict resolutions, de-escalation tactics. We got more cameras out there. And Chief, one statistic that you didn't mention today was about the closure rate on homicide. If you pull a gun, I said this last year, you pull a gun in this city and you shoot it, you will go to jail. Well, we got a close rate that shows that we are higher and higher and higher percentage of people that have assaulted, that have murdered someone are being found. Chief, you want to get that number?
I do, and I should have took my glasses when they offered them to me, Mayor, because I could see my numbers. So this is important. So when a citizen of this city, a visitor, is a victim of crime, an entire family is impacted, the neighborhood is impacted. Because of the work of our homicide investigators and those that support them, the clearance rate for homicides that occurred in the city last year is 79%. That we've identified who the individual is, we've issued an arrest warrant, and the vast majority of them we have. And Chief Hampton, correct me if I'm wrong, the national average is 61%, is that correct? 61% national average. Your investigators, the people that support them, 79% clearance rate. And if you look at all the homicides this department has been charged with solving, an 86% clearance rate that we have brought closures for families, and those others, we will get you.
Last thing, yeah, we can clap for that. We can clap for fewer people being shot and killed. One other chart is, this is crime nationally. This chart is significant. Atlanta had the third highest drop in crime across the nation. The crime reduction stat changes in total violent crime percentage by jurisdiction, and this is through the third quarter of last year. Statistics are going to be, taken for the rest of the year, but that was through September of last year. Atlanta was the third highest drop across the nation, and it's a lot of cities that are on the upside, and we're reducing crime, so we're the third highest drop, which is about how we did this group project. So I want to make sure that we take attention to that. We can email y'all that statistic because I want you to show it. Thank you.
Well, our priority will continue to be as a police department, gangs, guns, and drugs. The most violent individuals, those key indicators that we'll be after. But if you look at the one that we saw the highest increase in, it was car thefts. Because we know about this time last year, a little earlier, a video went out from the upper Midwest of how to steal a Kia or a Hyundai using a USB port. And that became a national-wide problem, and Atlanta was not immune from that. So we want to continue to educate around that. Pastor, thank you. This was one of the locations we distributed clubs to citizens of the city who may drive a Kia. The mayor facilitated those contributions and brought Kia right here to the city to put the patch on for those vehicles free of charge. So we're going to continue to focus on that. It's important to remember that prevention is probably the best way to prevent a property crime. And so where we did see our increases around property crime, we're going to continue to educate in those areas and make sure we get those individuals that are breaking in the car, stealing cars, into the programs they need to be diverted out of that choice of a lifestyle or to be held accountable for it. Yes, ma'am.
Recruitment and retention efforts have been a challenge for some time, of course, not just here, but, everywhere. And you all have repeated that theme for the last several years while addressing these crimes. Where do those efforts stand, and then how will they tie into your ongoing crime reduction efforts?
So we are very fortunate. We will have those numbers finalized shortly. We saw a reduction in our resignations and retirements from the department this past year, and we saw an increase in the number of individuals hired. We are still hiring. This is for everybody. If you've wondered, am I going to make a difference today? You can make a difference by working for the Atlanta Police Department. And our 911 center, crime scene tech, analysts, men and women in uniform, this is a way that you never have to go home saying, did I make a difference today, where it's at the end of the day of the week. So we are hiring. We're going to continue to aggressively hire. We're going to be hosting the College Football Championship this time next year, right here in Atlanta. World Cup is coming in 2 more years, so we're going to be hiring to be able to do that. But even with the number of officer vacancies that we have, look what the men and women of the Atlanta Police Department did. And look what we did in partnership with the community and our other partners. So we will never allow the fact that we're going to hire more, need to hire, to be an excuse that we can't work harder, and that we certainly can't work smarter for the citizens of our city.
Mayor, these are some of the data points, but if you talk to people, I'm sure you have as well, there's sometimes a difference between the reality of crime and the perception of crime. A lot of people still feel like things are more dangerous than they actually are. How hard is it for you to change that narrative and convince people that we are trending in the right direction?
Now, I really sincerely appreciate that question, because we know that perception usually trails reality in a number of places, particularly around crime. We want people to know that it is the intention of this mayor, this police department, and all of these nonprofits and clergy and everyone is to make sure that this is a safe city. And we've succeeded in moving that needle forward. We want people to see through the media, through the casual conversations that people are going to have, that things are getting better. And when we all chip in, that things are going to continue to get better and better. When everyone says Atlanta's on fire and everything is crazy and nobody's, and it's crime-ridden, then that actually becomes a reality. How a man thinketh, that's how it becomes. And so what we want to do is make sure that you know the true stats, the true facts. There are people across the country that want that number. There are some folks up here right now that would not do this press conference, right? I'm here doing it because I want you to know that in Atlanta, that this is the third, this is group project benefit. This is the work of all of these hard-working, individuals in our police department. As Chief said, we still have vacancies, but we are hiring more and more officers. The vacancies meant that these men and women were on 12-hour shifts a lot last year, meaning fewer hours that they were with their families. And so we want to hire more officers. We want to make sure that we complete our public safety training center so that they can have a great place to train in and that new officers can train in. We want folks to see that, this is policing and non-policing efforts that are leading to this. So the perception might still be out there that, there's crime in the city, but I think that when people look at the data and when they actually think about their existence, somebody one day, at the beginning of the year was saying, I eat out 5 days a week, and all people are talking about is crime. I'm like, so you left your house every day, you parked in a parking garage, you went into a restaurant, you sat down, you ate, you took a stroll to the ice cream parlor, and you didn't have any crime, but you talked about it along the way the whole time. All right, so you were safe through all those events for the whole year, but you had a whole lot of conversations about crime. I think you need to now talk about those walks that you took that you were safe. And so that's something that I think that people need to figure out is how to speak positively into the energy that this police department and fire department is given, and that all these ambassadors of safety, which are our nonprofits and our clergy.
Mr. Mayor and Chief, you talk about your commitment. We know your commitment to the youth, you're the youth, things of that nature. We hear the numbers, we see the numbers from you. We had a lot of young deaths in the city. What do you say to parents, guardians, to the youth in the metro area? Because as you said too, it's not just those who live here, but those who come to work here that you have to protect. What do you say to all of them, especially the youth, in the time with the numbers that you presented today?
Yeah, absolutely, Maria. We're thankful that in 2023 we had less youth to die from gun violence than we did in the year prior and previously. We saw a 46% reduction, I think, Chief, in youth homicides, which is a great benefit of the fact that we kept them busy. One is still one too many. All right, we know that there were unfortunate deaths that had occurred. And so we kind of measure between the ages of 0 and 12, and I think 12 to 16, and then 17 and up. The 17 to 24 category is still one of the areas, if I'm not mistaken, Chief, that had the highest number of incidents of gun violence. That is the area that we still have to focus on, and that is why these partners like Gary Davis and others are really focusing on, and Kid Kong and others are focusing on that age group, because they are the ones that are really, targeted and also contributing to some of that violence. But thankfully, that young age, those young individuals that were just getting introduced to gang life and those kind of things, that 0 to 16, we've seen a great reduction in it this year. If you remember last year, we had Atlantic Station. We also had last year Continental Colony and some other incidents that happened in 22, and then incidents that happened at Lenox Mall back in 21 or 20. And so all of that has disappeared because we are really focused directly on that. And so what we're saying to our young folks is that you do not have to participate in gangs. You can join a group, an organization, a nonprofit. You can go to your Department of Parks and Recreation that has teen leagues, and we got midnight basketball. You can go to App Promise Centers. You can go to the YMCA. We have places for you to have fun. We also have entrepreneurial opportunities to make money. Folks were, instead of being water boys, we had a whole entrepreneurship opportunity for them to make money in a positive way during this summer. And so for the young people, we are constantly telling them that we love them, we care about them, all the way from the beginning of last year to skating on New Year's Eve, where we had a celebration. We did the Year of the Youth in the right way, and the results show that more teens are able to live in this city and thrive in it this year, or 2023, more than they were in the past, and we want to rinse and repeat for 24.
I don't have the overall arrests in front of me. If they were not up, they were very close to being even. We don't go out and just spread a net across the city. We make sure we go to the areas and after the people we need to be. We can get you our exact arrest numbers, but they were in the right areas, after the right people, and they certainly brought about the results that we expected, and I think the citizens of Atlanta expected. Yes, ma'am, that is obviously an open investigation by this department. We do have leads, and so we'll keep you abreast of that. What's concerning to me is a couple things. Manuel's Tavern. Those of us, whether we showed up here 5 years ago, 20 years ago, or a lifetime, that's an important location for the politics of this city. And for someone to use spray paint to intimidate elected officials and those that were gathering there that night to talk about the future and how that particular political party can bring out the best policies is concerning. And if there's any threat toward our mayor or any elected official, we take it very seriously and we'll provide for their protection. It was spray paint 2 nights ago, but we've seen fire be used over 20 times. Arson has been used to intimidate elected officials, private sector individuals that are wanting to make sure that our fire department and our police department is properly trained, fully staffed, and ready to be there when you need them. So anybody, whether you're using a spray paint can, or a Molotov cocktail, they do have the attention of this police department. We will identify them and we will arrest them. And no one should think that they can just hide in the darkness and try to intimidate those that have been elected to serve the city.
Chief, in reference to the squatting and things of that nature and state capitals being threatened, I mean, what is the situation when it comes to security at City Hall? Is it heightened? What's the situation?
Yes, ma'am. We are monitoring that closely. We speak to the FBI and the GBI daily, looking at trends and individuals that may be involved. We have a heightened level of security around facilities in the city already, and they will be maintained in place as we get intelligence to make sure that all of the city servants that come to work each day and our elected officials can do so on behalf of our citizens safely. And this is something that if it occurs in the city, we'll respond to it appropriately and take those measures that we need to keep the city safe.
Any thought that the Manuel's Tavern dealt with opponents of the public safety training facility?
I think it's highly likely, ma'am. When we look at what has occurred, where the threats appear, what messages are left, it likely is, and that's concerning because individuals are trying, a very small group of individuals, ma'am, that's what's important to remember, is trying to impact a city of 500,000 people that just lay their heads here at night, much less the many that come here to recreate, to worship, that come here to have a good time. We have 50,000 young people in the city right now celebrating a religious conference downtown. We're a destination city, and that a handful should try to use vandalism, intimidation, and property destruction to say that the residents here should be less safe because their fire department's not ready or the police department's not ready is unconscionable. We will not allow it to happen, and we will make sure that we continue to stand in the gap for the citizens of this city. Intimidation will not win out over a vibrant, safe city.
Thank you all.
All right.